You're listening to episode 386 of the Major Issues Podcast, and on this episode, we are covering Batman Forever just in time for its 30th year anniversary. The Major Issues Podcast starts right now. Hello, everybody out there in comic book land. My name is George Serrano, aka The Don, and if you're with us today, you can only be here for one reason. It's a brand new episode of the Major Issues Podcast, brought to you each and every week by ComicBookClique.com. And as always, I am never alone. Sir, if you could please introduce yourself.
G. Willikers, Batman. It's Clouders Maximus, and we're back in the Batcave.
Yes, we are G. Willikers indeed. But we are not alone, ma'am. If you can introduce yourself.
I am Jessica Roberts, aka The Witch.
Jessica Roberts is here as well, and we are here to talk about Batman Forever for several reasons. Reason number one, it's hitting its 30th year anniversary this year. Reason number two, Val Kilmer, rest in peace. That legendary actor just lost his life not too long ago, so this is a bit of a celebration of that. And with Superman around the corner, this is a movie that is basically an exercise in what happens when the studio has too many notes, too many creative notes, too many creative decisions, and what happens when a director could take a property that is borderline bulletproof and still kind of mess with it a little bit here. Jarvis, when was the last time you've seen this film prior to us talking about it?
Honestly, it would have to probably be. It's funny. Forever, I haven't seen in forever, and probably when the cups were still in what was it, Burger King?
Yeah,
Burger
the
King,
frosted cups,
McDonald's?
the ice cups.
It
Yeah,
was Burger King, right?
I can't remember which one, but yeah, 100%
Yeah.
sure.
But I do remember. I don't know, but is it bad that I had an even funner time rewatching it than when I did the first time?
I've always liked this film, especially in comparison
Same.
to Batman and Robin. I have a different opinion now of Batman and Robin after basically taking in as much Batman as I can since this started. Um, I used to always think that I like this more than Batman and Robin because it's less silly, but it's like almost right there with, with
Yeah,
it
it's borderline.
in terms of silliness. But Jessica, when was the last time you've seen this film, and has your opinion changed on it at all?
Same thing, pretty much when I was a kid. I feel like I probably rewatched it in maybe 2010 to 2012 kind of time frame. I've always loved it. It was really iconic for me as a kid, so I really still enjoy it now as well.
Yeah, and it's also a who's who of 90s actors in this. When you're talking about Nicole Kidman and Val Kilmer and Tommy Lee Jones and Jim Carrey, and we'll get into the madness that is all of that. But yeah, I mean, I'd rather just kind of talk about the film, get real deep into it, and kind of stop at points to discuss the madness that is Batman Forever. Are you guys ready?
Absolutely.
Full spoiler alert for a 30-year-old movie, by the way. So if you haven't seen Batman Forever, we're going to be spoiling it here and now. And first and foremost, I got to say, Batman Forever, directed by Joel Schumacher, is the sequel to Batman Returns, which is one of my favorite Batman films. The film follows Bruce Wayne as he faces off against Two-Face and the Riddler, while also taking in Dick Grayson after the loss of Grayson's family. Lighter in tone than its predecessor, the movie draws influence from the Silver Age of comics and the 1960s TV show. While it received mixed reviews, critics pointed to the issues with the script and the tone. It was praised for its visuals, action, and soundtrack. It was followed by Batman and Robin in 1997. So we had the two successful Burton films, but after the release of one of my favorite Burton films, Batman Returns, it was deemed too dark, too sexy, and too gross. I mean, at one point, Penguin just bites a man's nose off, and then when he dies, he just like vomits black goo and is carried off by penguins. It's a very strange film, but I like Tim Burton, so I'm not making any apologies for that film. I like it, but I saw old school news, like the Sally Jesse Raphaels, the Ricky Lakes of it all, getting parents on board, like parents on the show to talk about how dangerous this film was, Batman Returns, and kids, narcs, 10-year-old narcs saying, yeah, Batman shouldn't be all dark and scary and stuff. And I'm like, yeah, come on,
You
come
just
on
shut
here.
your mouth.
So this film serves as a massive course correction from that film. The issue is I didn't think they were on the wrong course. So when you course correct something that I didn't think needed to be fixed, you kind of get put in this position here. And um, Keaton was still on board because Keaton had did the first two Batmans, and before deciding not to do it this time, he actually met with Joel Schumacher and ended up declining the project because he felt that the direction was wrong. The direction that they were going to ultimately take the film, thinking that it was too jokey and was too colorful, and that wasn't the kind of Batman that he wanted to play. So I know that at one point, there's a lot of discussion over what Tim Burton's Batman Forever would have been. At one point, he was considering putting Marlon Wayans in the role of Robin. He still wanted to do Two-Face, and we'll talk a little bit about that because the seeds for Two-Face are already planted a little bit in the first Batman film. And so this is kind of an incomplete trilogy or quadrilogy. What was that called?
Quadrilogy.
One of those.
Quadrilogy?
It just got very messy towards the end.
Yeah.
To the point where, bro, being that I only seen these movies through young eyes, right?
Yeah.
I had pulled up. I forgot what it was that I had to pull up. That I needed to find out something was bugging me about the movie, and then I pulled up all of the movies that came out, and I saw Batman Forever, and I said, "Hold on, O'Donnell is starring with Clooney in this."
Yeah. Oh no. In
Yeah,
Robin, Batman and Robin.
yeah, for Batman and Robin, and I'm like, huh. And then the wave just crashed over me, like I connect, like all the dots connected, and I said, "Oh, what the hell?"
Yeah.
So it was that was the last thing regarding that whole side of that whole Batman thing that happened to me. That was the last thing that actually caught me genuinely by surprise. That I noticed that I felt dumb after the fact, and I was like, "What the hell? I'm just now noticing this. This one was after the fact." So I thought that was funny.
The only thing that they kept from the Burton Batman 3 was that Burton did want to use Riddler. But his Riddler, the one he wanted to pick, was supposed to be Robin Williams, which was like an it character at the time. But I think Robin probably would have been too much. I mean, it's hard to say who would have been too much
I don't
because
know,
Jim
man.
Carrey is a lot in this. And I think
Yeah.
it works for what Carrey's trying to do here. But I don't know if, I mean, we hadn't seen Robin Williams, like his horror takes yet to kind of see what a villain. He hadn't played a villain yet, to my knowledge. So that was uncharted territory there. But they decided, yeah, we're going to do the Riddler. But I think they did offer the role to Robin Williams, and he ended up declining, and then it ends up being Jim Carrey.
Okay.
And then after Keaton bows out, Val Kilmer, tried out, and he was actually in a literal bat cave in Africa when he got the phone call that he was going to play Batman, which is pretty interesting. He accepted the role without reading the script. We'll leave that where that is. And reportedly, both Kilmer and Schumacher did nothing but clash during filmmaking. Schumacher described Kilmer as childish and impossible. And according to the director, Kilmer refused to talk to him for 2 weeks. So I also heard that Kilmer was miserable in this suit. It weighed like 100 pounds. He couldn't hear anybody once the cowl was on because the rubber's blocking his ears.
You gotta see.
Yeah, he has to move his whole body because he can't turn his neck. And so yeah, you end up kind of getting like a director who has his hands tied by the studio, an actor who thinks he knows what he's getting into, and then getting hit with all of the heaviness that it is to play Batman. Just almost like a stew of miserableness. Do you think any of that came out in this film, Jessica? Do you think Val Kilmer at any point just kind of looks like a man who doesn't want to be wearing a 100-pound suit?
Right here. Right here. Look, it's all, yep. Right here. Look,
he never looks happy. I mean, as like not really knowing that as a fact, it just seems like he's just dark and brooding Batman. But no, that's like knowing that the suit was so like heavy and weighing on him. Yeah.
Look at that.
Um,
I can see his spine being stressed out as we speak.
Yes. Look at that's some
Look at this
it's the most
man.
he's the puffiest mouth of Batman, I
yeah.
will
No,
say.
even in their like romance scenes and stuff, like when he's out on her balcony and like he just looks miserable. And there's of course
It's
the
always
like awful
broody.
forced smile thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of fake smiling here with Kilmer as well. Uh so let's get into it. Harvey Dent, it starts off with Harvey Dent. Once Gotham's golden boy DA, now the coin flipping chaos agent known as Two Face, breaks out of Arkham and robs the Second National Bank. Second National Bank, Two Face. Anyway, he takes a guard hostage for good, just for good measure. Batman rolls out to stop him, vault rescue and all. But while he handles the henchman, the big bad makes his escape. Dent crashes his getaway chopper into Gotham's Statue of Justice, just like it's another Tuesday, and manages to get away. We got to talk about Harvey Dent as Two Face. I'm gonna pass it to you, Jarvis, before I say what I gotta say about Two Face's portrayal in this film.
Mhm.
We'll spin around back to Jess, and then I'll end it off. But what did you think of Tommy Lee Jones as Two
First,
Face? At this time, he's in everything that we wanted. We were
yeah,
just
for
seeing him in The
real. And
Fugitive. He's in Men in Black,
And in black,
and
and
then stuff like
at this
this.
point, I had already ran into him, right? So I'm like, oh, okay. But even as a kid, not knowing so much, not even in it, you know what I mean, or that the as far as Two Face goes, I only my only reference to Harvey Dent is through the animated, right?
Yeah,
At
yeah,
this point, so it's like I only have that to go off of, right? Because the comic, obviously the comics are around, but I don't know that. Look how young I am, you know. So, um, that was my only go-to reference. So when I
look how
saw
young I
Tommy
am.
Lee Jones, yeah, so like, so I'm looking at Tommy Lee Jones, and then we'll look back to the animated. I'm like, yeah, this is kind of spot on, and not that it was spot on. I just genuinely creeped out by his wackiness and off the wallness as Harvey Dent. And he was Harvey Dent throughout the whole movie, so it's not like you get he's Two Face throughout the whole movie, so it's not like you get the Harvey Dent at the beginning. So that's all you get throughout the whole thing. So I had a time with Two Face. So I it's not that I was afraid. I was at least taken back as a little kid, like, oh, word.
Yeah, yeah,
you know.
definitely.
And then he had Riddler to feed off of as they fed off each other, and I just thought that was freaking fire.
Yeah.
Even as a kid, I felt that was fire and felt like it was fire. So I guess it was not so much in the grand scope of the movie, but
No, I could dig it. I could dig it.
you
Just
know,
Um, so being very young, Tommy Lee Jones was like my old person crush. So I was very happy that he was in this movie. And I really liked like looking at it from that lens, like I had a crush on this actor. It was like this good boy, bad boy kind of thing. So, and I loved the girls that he had with it. Are they Sugar and Spice? Is that
yeah,
their names?
yeah,
yeah.
Like his whole vibe was just like, this is so cool. I love this dude so much. And he just really played the part really well. I didn't really know anything about Two-Face either. I had seen the animated series a little. I didn't know the characters outside of animated series, and the four movies was pretty much my whole Batman background at
yeah.
that time. So yeah.
Yeah, this is the very first Two Face committed to film. There's been other Harvey Dents, and there's been other Harvey Dents in Billy D. Williams. I don't know what happened to my mic. Am I sounding different? I don't know. I should be good.
You
Anyway,
good?
yeah. Billy D. Williams, Lando Calrissian himself, played Harvey Dent in the first Batman film. He is the DA. Now, the story goes of Harvey Dent. He is the DA of Gotham. He's trying his best to put away criminals. He is disfigured by a member of the mob, and then kind of dwindles into craziness because Harvey has always been somebody of the law. He became the DA. He studied law. He got to a very high, prominent position and believes that law and order matters. And then he has another side that's, a bit more chaotic. And I thought that The Dark Knight did it beautifully, where it's like both the bad and the good parts of Gotham are fighting over Harvey, and ultimately he becomes a casualty to Gotham. Like he's just, yeah, that's what happens when good people go over there. They turn into this. I think this version of Two-Face is missing us feeling sorry for Harvey in this. We, like you said, we only get Two-Face. So when we only get Two-Face, there is never this is
you don't see him fighting. Yeah, you don't see him fighting for Gotham. You don't get the other side of the coin.
Exactly. And the only time you get to see Harvey is when the man uses a paper folder to block acid in his face.
In the flashback. Yeah.
I don't know how paper blocks acid so perfectly that it lines him right down the middle, but you know what? It is what it is. And again, like this, they had just did the Big Bad Harvey version of Two-Face in the animated series. This idea that they created in the animated series that he had split personality prior to the acid attack, and then this just kind of spun it out of control.
Yeah
100%. But Tommy Lee Jones was Schumacher's first choice for the role of Two-Face because he had worked with him in The Client. Jones accepted the role because his son 11 at the time said Two-Face was his favorite character. Doubtful. But Joel Schumacher disliked the idea of having Billy D. Williams play Two-Face so much he paid his acting fee in full because he was already contracted. So he's like, yeah, bro, keep here's the money, keep the money. I got my own guy. Don't even worry about it.
Quédate en casa.
Yeah. And strangely, still, even with what a drastic change that they made here with Two-Face, that version of Two-Face and that version of Harvey, just like Batman, is still supposed to be considered the same character from the first movie. I guess you're just not supposed to notice the extreme changes in that fact. But now that I've said all that homework, my opinion, I feel like, and I said this while watching the movie, I feel like he's doing Joker. I feel like he saw Jack Nicholson's Joker, and he's like, that's how I'm supposed to act. Because if you see Two-Face, he's very rarely, I mean, he is violent. The parts where it's Two-Face alone are so funny. And I don't know if they're meant to be, but they're so chaotically
wacky. I say
chaotically wacky that I think I like his Two-Face better when Riddler's around. Because he almost
I know exactly, but that's why I say every time I mention Two-Face, I always feel like I have to mention the Riddler because I feel like they just feed off of each other so crazily, that one can be by himself and the other one would just be on the other side of the room, hearing the other one talk and decide when to jump in. You know what I mean?
They had a real comic back and forth there. So once we get past the the Joker of it all, we go over to Wayne Manor, Wayne Enterprises, where we meet Edward Nygma, a tech whiz with an obsession. He's developed a device called the Box, which beams TV signals directly into your brain. Cool, right? Well, not to Bruce. The second he hears brainwave manipulation, he shuts it down. Nygma does not take the rejection well. And again, this is Jim Carrey at the height of his powers, for good or for bad. This Riddler works for me. There's a lot that shouldn't work for me in this, but Jim Carrey, as in all his comedy roles in the 90s, is absolutely fearless in this. He doesn't care whether or not anyone else is laughing. He doesn't care whether or not anyone else gets his jokes. He's just a mile a minute. He's a machine gun in this. There's times where I want to have problems with it. Maybe some of the pop culture stuff doesn't resonate as well. But especially when him and Tommy Lee get together, it's very much the 60s cartoon of the villains hee-heeing, like, oh, we can't wait to catch the Batman 100%. Or whatever kind of stuff. And as someone who, was reminded of that, I like it a little bit more. But at the time when I was a kid, it did feel a bit more cartoonish. Like I said, the Penguin in Batman Returns decides he wants to murder the firstborn son of every citizen of Gotham and decides to steal the babies at night when no one else is paying attention.
Babies are delicious.
Yeah, I don't know about any of that stuff there. But yes, so this is obviously something lighter now. What do you think about this introduction to Edward Nygma? It's very much, Max Dillon with Jamie Foxx and Amazing Spider-Man, right? Pushing up the glasses and
Hmm.
oh sir,
Like
whatever.
almost Point Dexter crazy. Rejection seems like it could push him over the fucking edge depending on how it's brought to him, which it is brought to him because fucking Bruce is like, what? The brain,
There's a
the
part.
crab, the
There's
Krabby Patty formula.
there's a part though where my man like is like cleaning his glasses. He's not even paying attention to what Nick was
Oh yeah, he
talking
just.
about at one point. I found now, you know,
I thought
get
that was
at
the
me if I'm
most
wrong.
rich person thing to ever do in the whole
I was about to
thing.
say, get at me if I'm wrong, but I felt like he was big leaguing him a little bit.
Yeah, he was. I felt like he was. I felt like it was. And I only felt that way on the second rewatch because being younger, you haven't been through shit, but
Yeah.
going through life, 30
Well, being
extra
younger,
years
he's
of
just
life,
crazy. He's acting
you
weird,
get
so
that
he's crazy.
experience. So it's like, oh, she fucking big leaguing it. He
Yeah,
doesn't even want to pay attention to him.
we know more about mental health now. At the time, it's like, oh, a crazy person's just crazy. But now I'm like, he just seems very excited. I think if you just spoke to him, you guys could get on like a
I,
level. But he could tell that you were gonna walk out, so he's like, I need an answer now. And then you're like, no.
Batman Forever ends right then and there. If he'd gave him the answer, if you said, you know what, all right, let's try it.
Yes, but
Credits.
guess what? Guess why Batman Forever takes place?
Go
Batman
ahead.
Forever takes place because of the next scene. Because, like you just said, yeah, maybe they can sit down. Maybe they can get together. Maybe they can discuss why brainwaves are not good to be manipulated. Maybe they need to have that sit down conversation. I also want to say in this scene, don't know if you saw it, Jon Favreau. Johnny Favs is there in the background of this scene. Very,
Indeed,
very
he's in the
interesting to
back.
see him.
He's in a suit
It'll be
too.
13 years until he creates Iron Man. But, my man's taking notes. But yes, the reason why Bruce Wayne leaves is because he sees the bat signal. That's the only reason why he leaves
Hmm.
Ed like he does and why he's so short with his answer there. Because he needs to go figure out what's going on with the bat signal. He needs to go save the dozens, maybe hundreds of people in danger. Except when he
Hmm.
gets to the bat signal, it's not Gordon there.
Yo, before you even go ahead, do the reveal.
No, no,
Fuck it.
no, no. I'll
Fuck
let
it.
you.
We'll do it live.
What you gotta say? What you gotta say? You want me to set it up first?
Yeah, you set it up. That's the only way I realized. You gotta set it up.
It's not Gordon calling, it's Dr. Chase Meridian, criminal psychologist and full-time bat-thirsty flirt. The two share sparks, I don't know if it was sparks, on a rooftop until the actual commissioner shows up and Batman awkwardly dips, blaming the signal on a false alarm. Classic bat ghosting.
That whole shit was so awkward for Bruce. Well, my fault, Batman.
Yeah, it kind of was. I mean,
He
my man,
was not with it.
no, no. But she pulled the fire alarm to
She
bag
did.
a
Well,
firefighter.
you heard?
Like,
No,
what's going
to
on
be
here in these
fair,
streets?
to be fair, he did tell her try fireman.
Yeah, she did. He did say try fireman. Which,
So when she pulls the fire alarm next, that's going to be on him.
She
yeah,
wanted to take
yeah, it
off his
is.
clothes and all of that shit on that rooftop, bro. You saw how she came dressed, and to be honest, if that shit would have happened, Gordon would have caught them anyway.
In a world where men say women don't have the initiative, Jessica, what do you think of Chase's just outright shooting her shot
That
here
is some
with Batman?
initiative.
She was
That
trying.
is some initiative, huh?
She was trying to scratch an itch. You heard?
Oh
I
yeah.
mean, I
You
think
heard?
there are better ways she could have gone about it. She already had the in and like availability to talk to him. She didn't need to go and like use thousands of dollars of tax resources, whatever, taxpayer dollars on like lighting up the bat signal. I don't know, it's probably not thousands of dollars, but you know
I,
what I mean? Like that's a very valuable taxpayer resource to call Batman, and she's just gonna that was shitty.
the cowl stays on.
Yeah, and not only that, but like
The cowl stays on.
for me, it's also like another level of meta, right? Because I'm like, I want to believe that the Batman in this universe has the same struggles that Val Kilmer has, like with the 100-pound suit, the eye makeup, all that kind of stuff. So he's like, I did all that for nothing, like
Oh my God. Doing that eye makeup behind the
Yo,
mask
and it's and
every
it's
time. I can't even imagine that. That's a
and
lot of makeup
it's
and
even
very
crazy that
stressful.
you say that. It's even crazy that you say that because I said the same fucking thing about the suit weighing a whole bunch when he's in the Batcave getting stitched up. And the
Mm.
nigga don't, and my man don't even look like he's been in the gym.
At one point, he has to swim in this 100-pound suit. I would have just died. I would have
I'd
been
have
like,
died.
Robin, you got it.
I'd have drowned
It is
inside
what
the
it
suit.
is.
They'd
What am
have
I supposed to
found
do
me on the
here?
ocean floor, standing up inside the suit.
Yeah. I was not wowed by Chase's flirtation techniques, but again, I am a Selena Kyle head. I'm
I
a
was
I'm a Batman Returns head.
I was having a good time in that whole scene.
So I mean, I like that she brought her up too. She was like, maybe if I had some whips and some leather.
You heard?
She's never going to be Selena.
No,
Um,
Not even close.
I mean, she shot her shot, bro. You know
all
what
the
I'm
all the
saying?
shots, all the
At
shots
night.
at night. What you know was gonna happen on that roof? But also, we cannot forget. We've just talked about Dr. Chase Meridian, and we've already talked about Batman and Bruce Wayne. We cannot forget the worst cinematic Commissioner Gordon to ever exist in any Batman anything. A man who does no work. He does no investigations. He goes and he turns the bat signal on and he's like,
And
open
then
this
he
check case,
leaves.
Batman. It
That's
is what
it.
it
And then
is.
leaves.
Later on, there's a fake suicide. And he's like, well, found the suicide note. I guess that's just what it is. He
Time to
figured
go
it out.
home.
Everyone can go home. Um, it really, like I said, the same thing with Two-Face. Like it really made me appreciate Gary Oldman as Commissioner Gordon, who's like ride or die for the city. This guy's like he's like in his pajamas.
You don't even you
He goes to the roof like in his
literally, yeah.
pajamas, and he's like, I
You
guess
don't
someone
even
turned it
know
on.
about the Commissioner Gordon that we about to get in like 10 years, bro. Ooh, he about to
So
come and
fire.
take care of us. We finna be real safe.
Crazy. Little background on girl Nicole Kidman. Renee Russo was originally cast to play Dr. Chase Meridian when Michael Keaton was still attached to the project as Batman. However, when Keaton dropped out of the project, he was replaced by Val Kilmer, and then Russo was deemed too old to play Val Kilmer's love interest, just even though she was just 6 years older. So that's Hollywood being Hollywood. Nicole Kidman, who ultimately played the role, is 7.5 years younger than Kilmer. Hollywood being
For
Hollywood.
real?
And yeah,
Damn, that man is handsome.
and Schumacher wanted Kidman originally to play Poison Ivy, but then he decided
Wow.
that Ivy, Riddler, and Two-Face would be too much for
Mm.
this film. Apparently, having no issues putting three
And
people,
then
Freeze, Ivy, and Bane, in the next film.
in 20 or so years, she saves cinema, bro.
Yeah, standing
She's
in
at
that
the
AMC
movies every
theater.
time. She's in the movies every time I go to the movies, bro.
You think she
And
remembers she was in Aquaman? She's in Aquaman. I don't think she remembers that she was in Aquaman. So Nigma ends up not stopping, even though he got the rejection, right? When his boss, Fred Stickley, threatens to pull the plug, Ed turns him into a human trial run. The result, the box works and it gives Ed access to people's thoughts, boosting his own intelligence. He fakes Stickley's suicide, puts on a mournful face, and walks away from Wayne Tech, already planning his comeback. I kind of like that scene. I like the scene of him fucking with him with the
yeah,
box.
yeah, me too.
But I also like the fake crying about like my boy. I have to leave this job. I just can't be here a second longer now, knowing that he's dead. It was very put on. It was very like crocodile tears.
Yeah.
But
Right.
I don't know. I found him effortlessly entertaining
I like it
in
a lot
this.
too. I like the way it showcases how good of an actor, what's
You
his
know,
name?
Jim Carrey.
Jim
Jim
Carrey?
Carrey. Yeah, how good of an actor he is because like you have to be really good at acting to then fake being like really bad at it on
Uh-huh.
purpose in such a targeted way. So I really like that he was able to like do that fake crying. Like that's a different level of acting to me.
It's even more so now because it's like now you get the back end of his career with the Sonic movies, right?
Yeah.
And now you go back to watch him, and it's the same
He's always been a cartoon
energy.
villain.
It's the same energy, the same everything, bro. And it's like, the Jim Carrey is just greatness, my dude. Great. Jim Carrey is just a goat.
No, 100%. And, in this instance, like I just said, given the big leaguing from before, one could just be like, oh, he's just a misguided man or whatever. The murder of his boss, and then the sociopathic way he deals with it afterwards, pretending to care, pretending to cry, doctoring footage of him running out running out the window or whatever. And like I said, Gordon reviews the footage. He gets the suicide note. And he's like, yep, get to go home.
It's interesting now though, because now like faking things like that with AI and like people can't really always distinguish between what's real or not on the internet. At that time, that wasn't even a thing. So why would he has video proof. Why would he even need to think like, oh, it could be doctored or fake? Like,
Yeah.
of course not. We just pulled it straight from the camera. Like that was way ahead of its time.
They also never say how he did it. Here. Yeah, it's all here, Batman. There's the man who died. There's him dying, and there's him right now.
I'm in my PJs. I'm going back to sleep.
Ridiculous. Yeah, so he basically walks away from Wayne Tech, and he kind of has an axe to grind. He feels, like I said again, that Bruce big leagued him, and that he's gonna get revenge on him for it. While they're almost at two different ends. Nigma seeks like respect, but he's obviously going to use his tech to get as much intelligence as he can. Meanwhile, Two-Face seems to only care to find out who Batman is. He really has like this boner to find out who Batman is, to the point that the only reason why they team up is because Riddler's like, I'll tell you who Batman is. And at various points, Two-Face almost ruins Riddler's plans by getting too trigger happy. To kill Batman or find out who Batman is. He's like, yo, bro, chill. I told you I'm gonna figure that out for you. I got other things I'm working on and stuff. So I like that there's two villains working at almost different ends. So that's why they clash. So that's interesting there. As Bruce starts receiving strange riddles left on his desk, he consults Chase, who suspects a dangerous fixation. Someone is obsessed with Bruce Wayne, not just Batman. And she's not wrong. The questions are stacking up, and someone wants to play a twisted game of cat and bat. These are pretty... What would you score these riddles, Jessica? What on a scale of 1 to 10, as far as difficulty is concerned, what do you think about the riddles here, Mr. Enigma's putting together?
They're terrible. They're basically like riddles that a kindergartner could solve.
Yeah.
I bet a 6-year-old could figure it out in almost the same time that Bruce does.
Yeah. Like I say, man, see,
really bad.
Bruce is probably an emotionally stunted 6-year-old in many ways.
That's fair.
Oh my God, bro. That in this, the constant like, my parent.
Yeah, I was saving that. I was saving that.
What is going on, bro? Everything. It's like he sees a flower and it's like, no, it's happening again.
Hold on. Wait, let's see if you guys can see it.
What do you got? You got some flowers?
Oh.
Yeah.
My parents.
What are you doing over there?
Alfred.
Just thinking about my parents.
Alfred, did you know my parents are dead?
At one point, he tells it to Chase Meridian. He's like, my parents died in front of me when I was a kid. And I'm thinking to myself.
He said, I want to tell you something that I've never told anyone. And she's like, tell me. I'm here. Yeah. I'm right here.
But I'm thinking to myself, he's a very famous billionaire. I think most people know what happened to his parents. Should be on the news. Like, you shouldn't be like, in case you didn't know,
you woke up.
Same thought. I was like, why would she not already know this? Why is this some big reveal to her? But they did say at the beginning of the film when she's introduced that she just moved here. She just got to the city. She doesn't. Like, how many billionaires?
So maybe she needs to calm down a little bit.
That's different.
It gets worse. It gets worse. It gets worse later though. But I wanna think that I'm gonna put a pin in that one when we get to it. To the Robins, but She does need to calm down. I feel like she's doing mad much for getting into the new town, bro.
He has tickets to the
The
circus
circus.
because that's what billionaires do.
Yeah.
They go to the circus, and he decides to bring his therapist girlfriend for reasons, um, and they just go there for some good old fashioned high flying Graysons, if you
Yeah.
will. I turned over to Jess when we were watching this, and I was like, I do not remember him having a brother, but there's three people
No,
who
it
die
was
in
just
this.
him.
It's a
It
mom,
was
a
just
dad,
him
and
and
a
the
brother.
parents. They wanted to
No,
make people care more.
they just
That's what
added
it
a
is.
brother.
Yeah.
He's never named. They never say my brother.
No,
They
he's never
referred to him as
named.
my brother at one point.
My brother.
Well,
Never says
it doesn't even matter in mere seconds anyway.
Yeah, because they have it's like the old school parents, the older brother, and then the baby, 35-year-old Chris O'Donnell playing 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 Dick Grayson. Again, and I will always say this, and it will happen when you see Brave and the Bold. But if this would have been a 10-year-old kid, this movie would have went up an entire star.
his name is Mitch Grayson.
Mitch Grayson.
Mitch rhymes with.
It
Sorry,
does. It does. And what
we
kind
try
of
to pay
parents
bills
call
around here,
their
ladies and
son
gentlemen.
Dick and Mitch?
The parents' names are John and Mary. How
Yeah,
about you?
that's always been. I know
Yeah,
Mary's has always
yes.
been the thing. But yeah, Dick and Mitch. Mitch and Dick.
Hey, Dick, can you call your Mitch
Mitch,
ass
your
brother
Mitch.
over here?
Yeah, that's basically what's going on here. Um, the night turns deadly when Two-Face storms in and he plants a bomb and demands Batman reveal himself. And Bruce does.
Wait, yeah, that's what I was saying. Wait, please allow me.
Go ahead, brother.
Harvey, I'm Batman. You telling
And
me nobody around that man heard
yeah,
him?
Chase is like, what did you just say? And he's
Chase,
like, I like
did you hear
Batman.
him?
I said I like Batman.
No, I really felt that, honestly. We've been at concerts the last few days, and there were times where I've been like, I'm trying to speak to the person next to me, and I can't. So I guess I understand there's just so much screaming and commotion going on, but like, you're sitting next
I
to like
have,
Commissioner
I
Gordon and
have,
the mayor
I
lady
have
and shit.
been, I have been in an arena with 40,000 people strong, and I was able to hold a conversation with the person next to me.
At least in this moment. But like I said again, I feel like Two-Face is doing a Joker. Like he's wearing the hat and doing the whole circus thing. And I don't think he would normally do something like that in the comics, but I said Homeboy was playing the Joker. One thing I do want to note though is I have a soft spot for gimmicked goons. And he has gimmicked goons. All his goons have
Indeed.
two-faced masks and LED machine
LEDs on
guns.
their guns. Yeah, let's get it.
So I like that. I like that that's always a thing. I like when you play the Batman games, like all the Penguin goons look the same and all the Riddler goons look the same and stuff like that. So I think that's a bit of a world building that he like got them all together and it's like you guys are gonna wear this. You guys use these weapons.
This is the
They're all
uniform.
terrible. They're all terrible. They all get the ass kicked.
Riddler goons. I want Riddler goons.
There should have been some Riddler goons.
I really liked the little punk dudes on the street. That was cool too.
The glow in the dark
Like,
dudes.
Yeah, the
yeah.
glow in the dark
Yeah.
guys. Yeah, I like them
There
too.
were a lot of really good, like, just generic bad guys, like outfits and stuff.
Yeah, and even with those guys there, they are doing world building, right? There's a whole other section of Gotham that we were ever been privy to that loves glow in the dark shit. So I like that they did some world building there.
He also mentions Metropolis too at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, later on to Dick. And I want to say there's another joke in Batman and Robin about it as well. Like that's why Superman doesn't works alone or something like that.
Yeah. When they were right before he shows him the back card.
Yeah. And then this literally the very first line in this film is or the very first exchange in this film is do you want me to like save you some food? And he's like, no, I'll get takeout. Like that's the very first exchange in this to kind of let you know.
It says I'll pick up drive-through.
Oh, pick up drive-through. Yeah. Yeah.
Is this an opening for like a McDonald's commercial? I feel like that was probably part of the Burger King promotion was they
clipped that scene. We gotta talk about it because it's in that scene in the very beginning that we see the car.
That's not where I thought you were going.
No, the car that I
I'm gonna let
always
y'all.
say,
I'm gonna let
yeah,
y'all go. You know
this
what I'm saying?
car is ribbed for her pleasure for some strange reason. It has
For
ridges,
mine,
a
it's
rib
ribbed for
cage.
mine.
It's ribbed for your pleasure.
You
It's not as
heard?
bad. It's not as bad as it will eventually get. Batman and Robins is like a toy. It's basically. I think there's like a. I think the engine's like in the front, and it like
Yeah,
fires up or whatever the hell.
yeah.
But like for a man who is supposed to be hiding his appearances in Gotham, this car is a bit much. It glows. Uh, oh, we'll get it. Yeah, I got some more stuff to talk about the car and stuff like that later. So, not my favorite Batmobile is what I will say. Not the worst.
Okay,
Not my
okay.
favorite. Jess, where do you sit on this Batmobile besides the driver's
Respectable.
seat?
Um, I don't mind it. I don't think I really dislike any version of the Batmobile that I've ever seen. I think my favorite is like I love the animated series.
Oh
I
yeah,
love that one. But
the
yeah,
limo.
this one doesn't bother me.
I always call that one the limo.
It
It's
is.
long as hell. But Jarvis, it looks like you are a
Jarvis has a lot to
boiling
say.
pot.
This was my mother flowering Batmobile for the longest.
I did
Don't get
own
me
this
wrong. The
Batmobile
classic,
at one
the
point.
classic, the classic animated was very respectable, very distinguished. It was a gentleman. You know what I'm saying? This one, nah. You better don't pull up Toretto. You know what I'm saying?
That version of the Batmobile is why Superman comes over to kill Batman in the comics. He's like,
First of
"What
all,
are you doing, bro?"
I had that Batmobile, right?
I had it too.
I had that Batmobile, and you could. I think it turned into a plane too. I'm not
I
sure.
wouldn't be
Depend.
surprised.
I think depending who made it, but I remember the missile it had in the front. It definitely
Okay.
had a missile.
I mean, the
And
marketing for this was crazy. It was all toys, like you were talking
yeah,
about
it was
before
all
with the
toys.
cups and stuff like that. Um, th- and you've had this moment, but you watch the commercial, and it's like all this badass stuff, and it's like, yeah, none of these blocks come with the toy. None of the
Yeah, it was
background
crazy.
comes with the
Yeah, I used to
toy.
hate that
None
shit.
else comes with the toy, but the toy.
That
So
and
I
I used
remember
to
thinking
take
that, like
I used to take off like the back spoilers for
the
for
wings, yeah.
the for the wings on the car, and I used to use them as batarangs around the crib.
That's like,
My imagination was real as a little kid, but that Batmobile itself, fire, bro. For a long time, it was fire. And
yeah. So like I said, they plant this bomb. He tries to reveal himself as Batman. It doesn't end up working out. The Graysons like work together to disarm the bomb, but then they cut the cord and they just like literally drop to their deaths. It's pretty dark. It's pretty messed up. It's pretty dark. And then Dick Grayson finds out that his whole family's gone, effectively. Um, and they not only did they die, but they died saving the citizens of Gotham, which is a whole nother layer of tragedy and something that he'll end up incorporating into his own life when he decides to be a superhero. Um, Tragic, just really hard to buy because he's a grown man, and it's even harder to buy the next scene where Bruce brings Dick to Wayne Manor.
I mean, honestly, like as someone in my mid 30s, if a billionaire wanted to adopt me right now, I'm not necessarily saying no, okay? Like I understand I'm an adult, but I would not mind. Maybe not a billionaire because they're weird. Like a multi-millionaire wants to come and adopt me as their like a weird adult child. I'm okay. You can make me a cheeseburger.
See,
I
the
need,
thing
I
is,
need.
I buy that. I buy that completely, and I almost agree. Where my line comes is, I don't think you would be as angsty. I don't think you'd be like, I need to do my own kung fu laundry. All right,
I need
I'm
a.
gassing up this
I need
bird, and I'm
a.
getting out of here.
He he
What are you doing, bro? What are you
that
doing?
man that man wrung out a shirt with his toes.
With his toe, does that make it cleaner? Like, is that a
Maybe
cleaning technique? Not
I
only
I
that,
don't know,
but he
but
spills water everywhere. He
I was
spills
just
water
about to say that if
everywhere.
I was Alfred, I'd be pissed. I'd be
He
like, if you
picks
gonna
up the
clean that
mop
shit,
for like a half second. He like grabs the mop. He's like, "Yeah, okay, I'm done."
I'm done. Peace out,
Like,
Alfred.
I
And
am
Alfred's like,
and that is not it, sir.
there's 50 other garments in that, and you did a t-shirt and some socks. There's 50 other garments in there. I guess I'm gonna dry them.
I mean, to be fair, that's the like one outfit he's worn since he's been here.
Yeah, it's
The
also
rest of
true.
it's probably Bruce's laundry. I'm not showing up and doing the millionaire's laundry for a cheeseburger. Fuck you.
But remember, they do the whole scene of like, that motorcycle. I love that motorcycle, but it doesn't work. I guess Alfred, he's not that good of a mechanic. I'm like, that man's 80 years old. You're not
That's
like
what
him
I
there
said.
sweating in the garage.
With his white gloves, trying to fix the bike.
Trying to do automotive repair at 80 years old. When you got soup, you have to make it the next 30 minutes to give to
Meanwhile,
Batman.
he's also a fucking seamstress making fucking Robin.
Out of rubber
Yeah.
seamstress.
Where did this man go to school?
That's another thing. Chase Meridian calls the suit rubber. I always thought we were supposed to know it was rubber, but everyone else was supposed to think like it was some kind of like Teflon or
yeah. That's
but
funny.
it's just
I just noticed that too. Wow, that's funny.
yeah, it's just rubber.
If they were outside and anybody else heard that, they probably would have stabbed him.
That's another thing that we never in this series get Batman outdoors in the day, because it probably would have murdered any actor with that suit on, with the breathability of that suit. So that's interesting there too. But yeah, he brings Dick Grayson to Wayne Manor. The kid is not interested in healing. He just wants revenge. He plans to bail until he catches a glimpse of Bruce's motorcycle collection. And then Alfred finds meaning in Dick's old costume and the Robin symbol on his helmet. Let's do a little bit of background on that. I don't see a child taking on that nickname with the pride that he does. He's like, Robins are bad. No, they're not. Robins are about this big. They're very small little birds. And but you got it airbrushed on your helmet. So I guess like that's
I don't know. So Jarvis, how old do you think Robin is actually supposed to be portrayed as here?
Here in the movie, because I was gonna mention that before too. I'm like, Chris O'Donnell hasn't even hit NCIS or whatever show he's on.
Oh God, I forgot he's on that now.
But Robin himself, oh man, I know I'm gonna be wrong because I know how old he's.
No, I don't know what the actual official number is.
No, but they don't mention it though. You know what I'm saying? So it's up for interpretation. So if you know the story of Robin, then it's gonna be hard to make him as young as he needs to be with all this hair on his face.
The earring, bro. The sideburns. The 1995 sideburns, bro.
I like the earring.
But that's what I'm saying. I feel like the earring puts him square at like 18.
At 18, yeah. See, yep. That's what I was gonna say.
So I try to think 16. Kids start doing things to their bodies at 16, like tattoos and piercings. He can ride a motorcycle, but he still needs an adult. So I'm feeling like he's like late 16, early 17.
I'd give you 17.
Terrible casting.
I think I'll give you 17. Do they let out of school at 17?
So that's the other thing. If he's traveling with the circus, he's homeschooled.
That's true.
So 16, he wouldn't necessarily have to be in school.
He's getting carny education on the road.
Listen,
what's going on here?
Don't make me go down talk about education right now, because I am a big proponent of homeschooling. I don't think everybody should be doing it. Maybe but if education was good up until
if a child told you he was doing homeschooling and then did the laundry kung fu thing, I feel like in that moment, I would be like, what are they teaching these children?
Maybe. Not everybody needs to be able to read and write and do math at a certain level.
Especially in the circus.
Exactly. If he already had a, career path, he already had it, his life planned out for him, he's going to be doing this, then maybe he did finish school at 16 and just, continue to work on his actual physical skills and stuff from there.
Yeah.
Bruce does mention maybe he wants to go to college.
Right.
Or suggests that he should be going to college, which then suggests that he did finish high school, right?
I would
assume you aren't going to college if you didn't finish high school. So I would say 17 is probably solid.
I don't even know. The jump from the death of his parents to him showing up at Wayne Manor.
That is a 32-year-old boy. All right.
Yeah, we don't see him does he have any other relatives in Gotham?
Obviously not if they're trying to the
whole family
dump him there.
tree.
Yeah. But I'm saying I think a little bit of something to the background of this kid, because it seems like he didn't know anything before he agreed to this. That's the point I guess I'm getting across. To me, it felt like he never was like he didn't know anything about this kid. He felt bad that this happened and then just brought him on board. Um,
did Batman did Bruce take him in because he felt guilty about not, I mean, because the whole thing was Harvey's like calling him out. He's there for Batman.
Yeah.
And then he tried the whole like, I'm Batman, nobody hurt him. And instead
Dick,
of like going
Dick's
right to
parents,
Harvey and being like,
my
hey, I'm
parents,
Batman, he just kind of let the family die.
There's a
everyone's
little bit of
parents.
there's a little bit of that there. Canonically, he just takes him in after because it's a mobster, it's Tony Zuko who gets the thing cut. And that's how his parents die, and then he's just like, "Oh, this kid, he reminds me of me." But again, he's not a kid in this situation, so it's a
Yeah,
harder,
he's
it's
a
a harder tooth to
32-year-old
pull.
boy.
So a 32-year-old boy.
Okay, but I think ignoring that, like for the sake of the story, ignoring the actual age of Chris O'Donnell,
Right, right.
I would say it does make sense for him to be 16 or 17 years old because at that point, yeah, he doesn't want to be roped in with another adult to take care of him, but he does still kind of need, you are a fucking kid when you're 17, 18, 19 still.
100%.
So
And he has got a murder boner. He wants to kill the shit out of Two-Face.
it's really
So
fucked up.
yeah, he's decided that in and of itself. Um, Yeah, I think it would just would have worked better with a younger kid, especially when you start dealing with a little bit of the, that when he tries to fight Bruce later on and all that kind of stuff there. Chris O'Donnell did nothing wrong. He did exactly what he was told, but I just think this was a miscast.
The cog chimed in and said 18.
He's supposed to be 18?
No, I mean, he says 18.
Oh, yeah, yeah. That's what I'm thinking about 18 years old. That makes sense to me there.
But you wouldn't need a like social services like
Well, yeah, he
Robin
says,
mentions the social
yeah,
worker
he's like, I'm only doing this because if I, to
to
get
save
the
the social
social
worker
workers
stuff.
off my back. And I'm like, well,
Yeah,
what age do you have to be where they're still looking after your
exactly. So he
He's
can't be
like,
18
he
yet.
Let's go.
low key said,
That's what I'm saying.
all right,
17
I
is
feel
fine.
17 is
I'm out of here.
yeah. And again, why not lay low for 6 months, get pampered by this
At the
billionaire, and then
yeah.
bounce the hell out.
Nah, he don't know how to be an orphan correctly. I'm sorry.
What do you guys think of Alfred's sort of affection towards Dick in this?
I think
Alfred is weird. I don't
Alfred is weird.
yeah.
Michael
I
Go,
feel
the
like
goat.
I
Michael
feel like
Go.
he's trying to give him some leeway because of how Bruce was brought up,
Don't
you
get me
know?
started, because you know what? Like I got something to say about like I do like
Which is
the affection that he gives Dick in this, because like you said, it does remind him a little bit of the little Bruce,
yeah. Which
but
is
also I feel like um while he reminds me of little Bruce, this Alfred in this four films, I feel like almost actively does shit to fuck with Bruce. Because he's the one that lets old girl from the first movie in. I can't remember her name. Vicky Vale. He's the one who
uh-huh.
lets Vicky Vale into the Batcave. He's the one who tries to like, hey, you should probably sleep with Selena Kyle kind of stuff, early on. He's the one who makes the suit for Batgirl and for Robin. And it's all like, sir, I've already let them in and told them the whole story and gave them outfits. Well, what are you gonna do about it? And then Bruce is like, what the fuck?
What the fuck, Alfred?
At one point later on, I'm skipping ahead a little bit, but at one point later on, when Dick is like, "Yeah, you come on, you got a partner. It's too late. I'm not. What are you gonna do about it?" I'm like, "He would kill you. Like Batman would just fucking kill you.
That's what I
Like you
said.
got my secret. You're the only one my secret."
I said, bro, he can stop you, right? Right. If he wanted to right now, he'll stop you, bro. He'll throw
Yeah,
if I was him, I wouldn't even like stop you. I'd like throw you off the cliff in the Batcave.
yeah,
Who's gonna find you?
absolutely ridiculous stuff. But we got a little bit of a villain origin story here. Edward Nygma reinvents himself as the Riddler. He already had some of this gear already in his crib, apparently. So that was cool.
Premeditated villainry, bro.
Premeditated villainy. I like this outfit probably the most of the three: the bowler hat and the almost like Japanese tuxedo kind of garment. The second thing becomes the onesie with no hat.
I like the onesie because I like the orange hair.
Yeah, the onesie with the no hat, and then the final one is the like the white glittery.
That white one was kind of hard. I can't even lie.
That was final boss Riddler.
There was What was the damn? What was the other? Oh, don't yo. Hold on. Show some Edward. How did I wanted to put it? E. Wayne Nigma, bro. When they're doing the press conference for his machine,
Oh, yeah,
and he's
yeah.
just he got the black and white suit on, his
No, he's
hair
chilling.
is looking like Bruce
He's
Wayne.
chilling. He's about to, yeah, because he's about to get this whole thing. Because there's no dirt on his name. No one thinks that he killed
Yeah.
his boss.
I like that. I think that really holds up today too, because it's very like tech bros bumping into each other at the gala kind of thing. Like that scene, the way their interactions were and stuff, that really held up.
And they're two different people when he met, Nigma the first time and when he ends up meeting him now. But he ends up reinventing himself, calling himself the Riddler. He goes to pay a house call to Two-Face, pitching a partnership. With his now refined box tech, Riddler can read minds and promises to uncover Batman's identity. A coin flip later, the villainous bromance is sealed, and Gotham's newest crime duo is born. And we get a pretty cool, pretty fun, high energy, high tech crime wave montage where these guys are going around. I thought there was a lot of really funny parts in this, and they seem to work pretty well off each other. I like the whole practicing a punch scene. I thought that was pretty
that was
funny.
funny. Ow!
Him losing count with the money, wearing the tiara and stuff like that. I thought all that stuff was fun.
The tiara was fly.
Yeah. And even though most people would say when it comes to film that you cannot fake chemistry, this film is famous.
Yeah, they hated each other, bro. That's crazy.
Yes. In case this is well known amongst most Batman fans, but in case you didn't know,
I didn't know this at all.
Okay, well, according to Jim Carrey, he did not get along with Tommy Lee Jones, who told Carrey he hated him. Carrey later surmised that it was because at the time, Carrey's blockbuster Dumb and Dumber was released the same week as Jones' passion project Cobb, financially eviscerating it and moving the film's recognition into obscurity.
What the hell?
Carrey explained that Jones was a little crusty about this because Cobb was his big swing for the fences, further recounting that during shooting he unintentionally visited Jones in a restaurant and cheerfully approached his table asking, "Hey Tommy, how you doing?" Only for Jones to turn pale and begin visibly shaking like he had been thinking of me for 24 hours. The blood just drained from his face in such a way that I realized I had become the face of his pain or something. He started shaking and he got up like he was in a mid-kill me fantasy. He hugged me and said, "I hate you. I really don't like you." And I said, "Gee, man, what's the problem?" And I pulled a chair up, which probably wasn't smart. And he said, "I cannot sanction your buffoonery." Which is my favorite line.
That's a Tommy Lee Jones
I say it all the time
because I can hear him say it with
the very next day, they film scenes in which the Riddler forms an alliance with Two-Face in his lair. So the next day after this whole "I hate you" and "I cannot sanction your buffoonery" is when they shoot that scene. Now
that's professionalism. I'm a fuck. You know what I'm saying?
You hear that, Hangman? You hear that?
Fuck all that.
You hear that, Hangman? You could have. Hey.
That's kind of how their relationship is. That's the chemistry.
Yes.
I never heard that story before. I didn't. I
love the quote of sanctioning buffoonery.
I was gonna say. Why? Damn! If only I could get them in a room and talk about it to each other. Nowadays,
I mean, Tommy Lee's pulled now. He probably would have been like, "I don't even remember. It wasn't as bad as it needed to be."
Jarvis is ready to be their therapist.
He's gonna Maury the situation.
I love Jim Carrey.
What's funny though, if I can play Two-Face's advocate for a second, right? This guy had just gotten off The Fugitive with Harrison Ford. It was a very well-regarded movie. It was a very serious movie. And majority of the Tommy Lee Jones films have been serious. He played serious against Will Smith in Men in Black. And he's being approached by the "I talk with my butt" guy at a restaurant who's like, "Hey, I can't wait to do this movie with you." Now, whether or not he should have been rude about it, I don't think so personally, but I can't help but feel that he thought this actor was a rung under. Dumb and Dumber, you don't look at Dumb and Dumber and go, that's Oscar worthy. That's
Now you do. Now it's been a classic for so long. Like
yeah.
everybody feels that way about it.
But
So
you think
maybe he feels different about it now too.
he's the guy in the bowl cut who talks with his butt, and now he's here. He's here, probably getting paid more than Tommy Lee Jones here in this moment.
Buffoonery.
Which, hey, buffoonery, bro. You can't sanction it. But despite that, I think they both worked well together, and maybe you know. I wonder if they could ever share the screen again, like Jarvis said. It'd be really cool to go like to old folks' home in Arkham and like the future Batman Beyond or whatever, and have all these guys in the old folks' home.
But Two-Face died.
Oh yeah, oh
well,
he swam or something like that. We
yeah,
don't know what happened.
Know for sure what
We
happened.
don't know what
We
happened to
saw his
Two-Face.
hand slide away. It landed on Heads. Heads is good. He might have got away.
That's true. This is also true.
It's also like a fantasy world. We can make up whatever we want. So
I can dig it.
I'm cool with him living.
Just like I'm making up that one day we're gonna see Sugar and Spice come back because they're both still alive.
Yes,
they
Drew
bounced
Barrymore.
out. They bounced out mid like at the end of the film. They're like, yeah, you know what? We're getting the fuck out of here.
Drew Barrymore and who? What's the other girl's name?
Jane Barrymore.
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I made that up. I was hoping that
I'm gonna look for it now.
Drew Barrymore and that other girl, super hot too.
But this is the same thing. Like we get this, we get this dichotomy. We get this two women, Sugar and Spice stuff. But where is the Sugar Harvey? We still don't ever get the other
Drew Barrymore and Debbie Mazar.
Debbie Mazar. We never get the soft part of Harvey. All of it's turned up to 100.
Yep.
I'm also doubtful that acid would make your face look like that. Just turn it purple or whatever color.
It's just the straight line down the middle. So yeah. I feel like, I mean,
it's that's what happens when you block it with paper. You get the evenness of, you know.
But no, it's not even in that scene where he blocks it. It's so bad.
You guys. So none of
it should have had the indentation of the folder, the tab of the folder. That's what it should have been. It should have followed that.
Maybe it's not just that. Maybe it's makeup. It's painted purple. He
evens it out.
Cover up how bad the scarring really looks.
He's like, I'm only gonna do this whole Two-Face thing. It can't be like 2.5 face. Yeah. It have to like make this look a bit even.
75-25.
Yeah. I buy that. But even then, like in the animated series, he's just wearing a black and white suit. And in the Dark Knight,
it's like bluey and
but I mean his attire.
Yeah.
Right, and then his attire in Batman: The Dark Knight is just like half burnt because he's half burnt or whatever. But in this, he's wearing like zebra stripes and cheetah stuff, and I'm kind of like, that's why at one point, Riddler goes, "This house is so you, and it's also so you," and I think that's a little bit of a hint that Harvey may have a little sugar in his tank towards all his decorating habits in this, and I think that was a joke Riddler was playing at the time of like, you're really into this fashion part of your gimmick because you kind of don't. I mean, Jim Carrey at that time pulled that suit off a mannequin. You know, that was how much thought he went into his whole Riddler outfit. Meanwhile, Two-Face has a variety of two-colored suits. Like I said, zebra stripes, cheetah print, all that kind of stuff. So I also thought that was really funny. Bruce grapples with riddles and regrets, as he does. He keeps getting these riddles. He has this whole dichotomy thing. This movie's a lot. This is the very first time I realized that this movie is about, and maybe that's why the Edward Nygma kind of thing seems weird, but it's about the duality of Batman and whether or not he can have a complete life. Because at one point he decides to go full Bruce Wayne and just be with Chase. And at one point he decides, in the beginning he thought he could only be Batman and never be with a girl like her. And I think towards the middle he's like, I'm just going to try to do both. Fuck it. Who's going to stop me?
Yeah, he eventually says like he's not doing it because he has to. He's finally choosing to have both sides of him. He has to accept that both parts of him exist.
Yeah, 100%. So, gosh, this scene. Hey, why is this the only door that doesn't open? Hey, don't worry about it. It's Bruce Wayne's dead wires in there, which was a great line. I love that line. And then he's like, get the hell out of here. And then he literally like looks over his shoulder to make sure that he's not behind him to go into the Batcave or whatever the fuck. Mm-hmm. And he's like on the 4th floor. And then he does like a parkour technique and slides his ass into the Batcave.
But he tried to tell Alfred now, but Alfred didn't hear him.
Oh no, that's what she said. She goes, "Who did he say now to?" And I said, "Yo, imagine if he would have broke his neck. Any one of those jumps or the grab at the curtain,
Alfred wouldn't have been able to hear him.
he would have came up and said, "Oh, another mess to clean, sir." But the billionaire guy told you could ride his motorcycles, you can chill in any room in this house. He just told you not to go into one room, and you had to break in. You just fucking broke in. And now, the other part of this rant. I do not understand what part of safety protocols allows for the entire bat cave to present all of its tech when an intruder arrives.
You're looking for this?
It goes intruder alert, intruder alert. By the way, here's our Batmobile, and here's all of our weapons, and here is all of the. And it happens twice in this movie. Both people are intruders, and you get to see the full scope of it. I like that Alfred's face is like, fuck, I fucked this up. Unless I'm gonna kill him, I'm gonna have to make him Robin because he's not gonna shut up about this. So he ends up taking the Batmobile for a spin. I love the whole like the other car, sir. The other car, sir. There was the fucking Batmobile, sir. Damn it. He saves a woman from a mugger, but he ends up in over his own head. He's in Neo Gotham. What do you want to call that? Neon Gotham. And Batman ends up bailing him out, but then they have that very awkward fight where he punches his forearms for like.
That is a fight. Is that what you call that?
A tussle?
Sure.
I wish it was him. I wish you were him. Bruce is like, I don't get fucking paid enough for this. I don't get paid at all for this. This is depression. I am depressed.
Like, it's a very parental moment. I don't know. Maybe Jarvis, have you gone through this with your daughter where she's just so angry and wants to take it out on you like that? No.
My parents.
I've had a couple times with my daughters over the years where they just are like, I want to punch you, and I'm like, I'm gonna take it and let you work this out.
But similarly to like the whole thing I was talking about with the security of it all, why does the Batmobile let everyone drive it? How did he get that far with it? I feel like it'd be like, password. Oh, no password? Do. Now where the fuck are you gonna go?
The key in the ignition.
Yeah, is there a key? You think he had push to start? What was going on?
I don't think that existed yet.
Oh, God. But they had brainwave sucking technology. So who knows what the hell
about that?
Yeah, sure.
We'll go down a neuroscience rabbit hole.
Matt, we'll do it when he brings up the box. Yeah, Bruce just tells him don't kill because killing will, what is it? The amount of killers of the world stays the same. Yada yada yada. Kill a killer. So that's fine. But they end up having a high society event where Bruce and Dick cross paths with Edward Nygma, who's now rich and famous and unrecognizable in his new persona. But as Jarvis said, he is just dressed like Bruce to the point that I think he has a fake Bruce Wayne mole on his face that he asks.
I know he's got the glasses.
He's got the hair. The hair is exactly the same.
His hair definitely for sure.
And so like this got to eat Bruce up, right? This got to eat Bruce up, but Bruce can't say anything outwardly about it. And Nygma's just chewing this up. This is the syndrome of it all, right? Like everyone's paying attention to me now. I am what everyone, who everyone wants to be. I'm the one with the women on my arm. I'm the one with all this rich stuff. He goes and starts selling this tech, these boxes across Gotham, and people start, using them, and all of his brainwave matter is going to like this very expensive island headquarters that I don't know where that comes from. I don't know who builds that. I don't know what's going on with all that there, but I dig it because it's very evil villain layer comic book stuff.
Straight up, yeah.
But as to logistics, how it got there, how it can raise above the water as it does later on,
bro, it just looks like one big ass apparatus that nobody can be on.
Yeah. And then you can play Battleship. If people get too close.
That is so weird. That part is fucking weird.
You gotta sell toys, man. I wonder if they sold a Batman Forever themed Battleship.
That'd be really cool. I'd want that.
where your goal is to murder Dick Grayson in the
I want
water.
Tom Cruise.
In the water. Um, of course, Two-Face crashes the party. Again, this is an instance where it's like Riddler doesn't want him to crash this party. He's over. I think he even says like you're taking way too long with this whole secret identity madness. So he crashes the party with guns blazing. Batman shows up. This is also one of my favorite scenes because Batman crashes through the skyline. It's a very famous scene of him crashing through the glass. But then someone goes, "Oh, it's Batman!" And that's my favorite part. Someone in the crowd points and it's very loud about, "It's him." No one shields their eyes, by the way, as all the shards of glass come down around them. They look up. Yeah. Reminds me of a certain president. But Batman shows up, but he ends up being ambushed, and they basically kick his ass. He's almost about to die, but he's saved surprisingly by Dick Grayson, who is suited up in his circus attire. He's got a little bit of a domino mask, but he's in his circus attire. Bruce isn't thrilled, but Dick is not backing down. I feel like no, because I feel like some of this stuff is supposed to come off as like charming. Like this kid just won't quit, and he's just gonna. But it doesn't come off that way. It comes off like he's a brat.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's again age. Would have allowed 11-year-old to be more sarcastic and be more, hey, what should I call myself? Nightwing? You know?
Be more
Personally,
Batboy?
I've never dealt with a 32-year-old boy.
Boy? Yeah.
So
I'll send Dan over your way. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what goes on there. So, party crash. Okay, so Alfred nudges Bruce to pursue Chase. She might be good for him. Bruce visits her as Batman, but she surprises him. She's falling for someone else. Spoiler alert, it's Bruce Wayne. As he glides away, he finally smiles. She is messy.
you know what's crazy? There was a moment in this, and probably I even as a kid I knew it was messy. You know what I'm saying? But as an adult, I can't help but look at this and then just go, "Man, you raggedy bitch."
It's so weird because that's a little bit of the trope of Lois Lane, right? And old school Lois Lane would be like, "Oh man, till his balls were empty with Superman." And then Clark would be like, "Did someone say Superman?" She's like, "Ew, get out of here, Clark, you loser." And so like in here, it's like she wants to bang both, but then she just realizes it might be easier just to bang Bruce. So sorry, Batman. I know I've called you twice for this,
Like 5 hours ago, she's like, "Meet me in my bedroom," and like
She
he's
did
there,
say that
and you
shit.
changed your mind. It was a few fucking hours ago.
Yeah.
How did you change your mind in a few hours? You didn't see Bruce in between?
And Bruce Bruce was the guy who left you for dead at the circus. He's the one who was like, "Oh," and then she was like, "What did he say?" And then he fucking ran.
You said you saw Batman? Where?
Yeah, and then he ran away. That's the love of her life in this moment. I'm gonna jump to the conclusion that she's like from a very small town. Like all of this is brand new to her.
Fuck that. The smallest town.
The smallest town. All of this is brand new to her.
Smallville.
Yes, like Smallville. Bruce Wayne. This dude in a bad outfit, all that stuff. Like, give me all of it. No one knows me from here. I can
tracks with a woman who's willing to show up in lingerie on the roof of the police station in the middle of the night for a guy she met for like 30 seconds.
Do you understand what I'm saying? Like
that's like girl trying to escape the Amish community.
This is her Coyote Ugly. This is what's going on here. She's dancing on the tables.
Yeah, she is.
That would have been me. The cowl stays on.
Because you know how hard it is to take this off. Except I always love the part in Batman Returns where he rips it off like a fruit roll-up. he just fucking tears the entire... It's like, I'm Batman. Anyway, with Bruce on the ropes, the Riddler scans his brain and finds what he's been looking for, a bat. It's all he needs to confirm his theory. Bruce Wayne is Batman. Do not love this tech. Do not love this screensaver PlayStation 1 technology.
You don't like the Windows media.
How do I look at his brain? Oh, it's a video. It's a high-res video of a bat. He has to be Batman. I feel like that was a bit of a leap to. I mean, he was right, but I feel like that was a bit of a
Yeah,
leap.
he was right, but bro, you forget he's been
Everybody else
all
is
fucking
like,
movie.
everybody else's things are showing like they're wearing jewelry, they're on a beach, they're having fun, and his is just like giant bat floating. Like, why would it specifically target that and not this? Wow.
You gotta do the motion.
No, I'm good. I'm not doing
It's so dramatic. The bat is so dramatic.
it. Like,
How did they film that? Was that a real bat?
I don't know.
it could be.
Right, it turned to the left. We needed to fly straight for 3 minutes. And then they couldn't get that, so they got 10 seconds and they just did it in super slow motion.
In loop.
Yeah.
I'm still not good with the whole brainwaves thing.
Do you want to talk to the people about what a little bit of science?
No, because
He only knows because he's been getting smarter all fucking movie.
Yes.
He's been getting his fix. So all it took was to see that, and he put it
I would
together.
argue that absorbing information from that many people's minds would make you less intelligent than when you started.
Well,
One
Now
can make
got a
that
pile of
one can make
bullshit
that
in your head.
One can make that argument because you saw how unhinged fucking Riddler became towards the end, right? Like he was just.
I hate that we don't get like the classic like Edward Nygma, 5 PhDs, been doing was the most
stats,
intelligent man
right?
in Gotham, and damn it, no one, he of course he got hired at Wayne Enterprises because he was the most promising person at Gotham
Hold on.
whatever the fuck.
You work at Wayne Enterprises, but why the fuck does your house look like that?
Some people are hoarders. He hasn't like.
You know how much an apartment in New York is, right?
Yeah, he lives. He basically lives in a New York apartment, bro. That's basically what's going on there.
But he's a scientist in New York City. There's something don't equate. He got some bad habits.
That's also true. And the Waynes could be embezzling because
he does have a lot of cool shit in his house.
He does.
He has a lot of cool Riddler themed things for someone who hasn't made the Riddler yet. which I thought was pretty funny. And I still want to know how he's making those envelopes stick to the gate. All right, because I've been putting up signs lately, and I just want to know what material. Not just double. Come on, the elements alone. Bet
9M strips.
That's what. Yeah, that's what it's got to be. That's what it's got to be. So he decides to have a quiet night with Chase. This is another one of those like. She's like, I just got to tell you how I feel, and she knocks over the rose, and it's over. It's over. Everyone's over because he's like, the flowers.
Shit is unraveling.
By the way, my dad had a journal, and they opened my dad's journal at his funeral.
Yeah.
And now he'll never write in it again. So I took the journal and I ran and I fell into a hole. And then a bat saw me. And I was scared of it for a little bit, but then I was like, nah, I'm gonna use it to, and she's saying all this, I'm gonna use it to attack my enemies. And she's like, Bruce, just say it. I'm like, I think he is. I think he has kind of said it. I think he's kind of said it all. Mm-hmm. But it's not until she kisses him that she's like, I've tasted this mouth before. I know what that mouth does.
I tasted bat lips before.
Yes, I know exactly what this is. You're the poutiest man in Gotham. I know exactly what this is.
It is clear.
But I didn't have the animal magnetism between these two. I don't feel the. I don't. She's gorgeous, and he's well-to-do.
I didn't even see him as being interested in her until Alfred's like, "Hey, you could like date this hot chick."
Yes, he is the first time that, and this might be hyperbolic, but he's the first time that I felt like he was a Bruce Wayne who was so rich and so Batman that he was aloof to like women. Where it's always kind of been shown that he is a playboy or he plays a playboy. This is like, oh, a girl likes me. Like, what do I go as Batman? Do I go as Bruce? Do I tell her my secret? But there's a joke with Superhero Cafe. You've seen Superhero Cafe, right? Because I'm Batman. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and the joke in that is every time he sees a woman, Batman goes, "Hey, you want to learn my secret identity?" It's like the Marv thing, like the first nice woman to be like, you know what, maybe you do need therapy. That was really rough for you. He's like, I'm Batman. I'm fucking Batman. All right. But as he's dealing with this, Two-Face and Riddler crash the party. They give Alfred a concussion and throw him in the closet, which is something I didn't pay attention to before. He takes a hell of a bump. I think it was a stuntman, to be honest. I don't think Michael Gough is going
Wow,
back
you think he
down and
does
getting
his
back
own
up.
stunts?
Not for this. No.
Crazy.
Not for this, sir. Please let me know when you're done. Uh, and we never find out how he got out of the closet, by the way.
He woke up and opened the closet door. Why is that such a mystery?
I feel like in one of his butler pockets is like a collection of keys and
No, it's
and,
a
and
master
bobby
key. This
Locked
nigga,
pins.
their
this
front
nigga be
closet
cleaning.
door.
He be
What?
cleaning the house and the back cave. He got one master key. He ain't got all those, bro. It'd be like a super in a freaking in a NYCHA apartment.
Yeah, yeah.
You know
And
how many keys that is?
If Bruce found out, he would flip, but Bruce doesn't care enough to know that all the doors have one key. It's much easier for me, Master Wayne. Please, I'm sorry. Um, This is the scene I remembered like yesterday. This is the scene that burned itself into Little George's mind when I saw this movie for the first time. The Riddler going into the Batcave and blowing
And
it to fucking
blowing
bits.
that
This
shit
is the
up.
most
Yeah,
vulnerable
same.
I've ever had seen Batman at the time. He literally gets shot, across his head? He didn't get shot
Mhm.
in the head. Got the bullet grazed his
He
forehead
gets
or whatever.
shot by his head.
And then he like hits his head on every stair going down. And I'm like, this can't be good.
He's gonna
Sure.
wake up and not know he's Batman.
Yeah, surely.
That'd be very interesting.
Him just like every time then that scene plays out way different when they figure out that it's Edward Nigma, where it's like Alfred's getting all the clues right, and Bruce is like, he's like, anything, sir. You have anything? He's like, I just can't right now. I don't know. 13? M? A? You've got a concussion, sir. You should probably.
They just start saying random numbers.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Mr. E. A question. Mr. Question. No, sir. It's not Mr. Question. But
Ah,
Travis, what do you think about this whole storming of Wayne Manor, destruction of the
fire,
Batcave thing?
fire. And I'm glad it was Jim Carrey the one to do it because he having anybody destroy anything with such a smile and just having a good time was great to see. Um, it was also at the time when I first saw this movie that it was my first time seeing the bad guy's lair, or just the spot getting broken into and everything just blown to shit. The only time you will only see that and you knew it was about to go down and you felt heavy about it was in Power Rangers, because I remember
Oh
that
yeah.
too when they came through and they just
Blew up that set.
obliterated the command set, the set,
Yeah,
the command the
yeah.
command center, bro. And then the Zords got the fade too.
Yeah. I like that he throws a whole bag in the Batmobile. He's like, I don't know how many
Yeah,
it's gonna take
ah,
to
bro,
blow
that
this
shit
up.
was
I'm just gonna throw the whole shit in there. Um, Two-Face wants to kill Batman. He probably should have, in hindsight. But Riddler's like, nah, hold on, give me a second. I have another riddle.
or though at
it's in
that
here
point,
somewhere.
why keep him alive?
um, it's the game. It's the cat and mouse game.
Exactly.
Yeah,
It's stupid. Two-Face should have done it anyways.
yeah, yeah. Probably. He also has big ass guns in this. Big ass, shiny
Yeah.
ass guns.
Yeah.
Two-Face has. Um, yeah, and all the suits are blown up and shit now. But yeah, he gets Grace by a bullet. They end up kidnapping Chase Meridian. Sorry, they kidnap Chase Meridian. And he gets knocked out because he's grazed by a bullet. When he wakes up, Alfred is there, fine, no concussion. They should both have concussions. That scene would have been way, way better if they both had concussions.
But they didn't
Trying-
actually hit Alfred in the head. They hit him like in the side.
well, they knocked him out.
I know, but the cane comes down like on his shoulder.
Maybe he hits his head on the way down, which is even worse. Old people falling.
Fucking old
He's
people.
got a fucking brain bleed, and you have him doing your motorcycle with Bruce. And I'm like, I expect this to be working by Monday, Alfred. Bruce suits up in an experimental sonar batsuit. Dick unveils his new identity, Robin. Not just a psychic, but a partner. Bruce finally accepts him, and Gotham's got a new duo. We got a little suit up montage, an uncomfortable suit up montage. So to clear the air, Joel Schumacher's decision to put nipples and enlarged cod pieces on the bat costumes, as well as an earring on Robin, caused controversy. It even bothered Batman creator Bob Kane. Schumacher said he wanted the suits to have an anatomic look, while the earring was supposed to make Robin more hip.
Oh,
And
it
with it,
definitely made him more hip.
hip and with it. He also claimed that the basis for the Batman and Robin suits came from the statues of the gods in ancient Greece.
I guess.
Now, I will say there
But what
is
about
a
this? That's
there.
cool and all, but why did you have to zoom in so hard?
Yeah, that is never explained. The bat butt stuff is never explained.
The butt is a little.
I think it's the most, and the cod piece.
You
'Cause I
get
don't
it.
think I
You
ever
yeah,
cared
but
about.
in
They at least make it look like they're looking at the belt. There's
yeah,
nothing but
but
his
in
ass
Batgirl
in that ass shot.
When Batgirl comes along, they just go overboard with it. Then they
Yeah,
double down.
yeah, 100%. And the thing is, there is an issue in comics, I will say, with like all the suits looking like they're actually painted on, where you can see like the femoral artery on the
Right.
leg of some of these guys. It's like that's not. They wouldn't be able to breathe if there was that thing was that tight. And maybe that's what he was trying to mimic. But it's the idea that your abs sit in the molds of the abs in the
Yeah,
suit. Is that what
That's weird.
is that how that goes? Like I made
that's what I
ab
was gonna say.
holes
But then
so that
don't
your
you think it
abs can
gets
fit in
like
there.
tricky when it comes to like muscles and the other parts of your body?
He already can't move his neck, bro. This thing just feels like a fucking nightmare. And this sonar outfit is like silver.
Yeah, it's silver and black.
I wasn't digging it when I saw it, bro.
Yeah,
When I saw it, I was like,
I
that is.
definitely was not digging that.
I was like, this is kind
That's a
of
fact.
bright. And I also poo-poo them for not allowing the bright red with Robin, doing that weird muted stuff.
Maroon, green. Yeah.
Yeah, what do you think of about the Robin suit though? First Robin suit since the 60s.
I at first I still kind of do like it though.
Yeah.
I don't dislike it,
I
but
mean, in the sequel, they just do Nightwing's outfit and they call him
yeah.
Robin anyway.
Mhm.
They was like, fuck, we're just gonna do Nightwing. Put
He
the big
tried to
ass
call
symbol.
himself Nightwing. They're like, nah.
No, you're not ready, bro. You're not ready. Are you digging the Robin outfit?
I don't have a problem with it. I like the like acrobat outfit better. I like this first outfit. I like the bright colors. Yeah.
Yeah. There's a joke, and sometimes not even that much of a joke, that he makes Robin wear his bright colors so that people could shoot at him while he
Yeah.
traverses the
I
shadows.
I guess I see that's like the opposite of that is kind of why maybe he would have those darker colors. So they stayed true to like the color scheme, but also made it more realistic to where he's not going to be bright and standing out. Like,
I agree,
yeah.
but then we need to change the Batmobile because that thing is a nightlight driving down the city with his glowing blue rib cage. They need to get on the same page. And also, like, it's one of those things where it's like they have come into the Batcave. They have destroyed billions of dollars of equipment, but I have a backup plane and a backup other thing in the back, so we'll just take those. Like,
In Cave
screw it.
B.
Like, what did he really blow up? Did he blow up like the showroom? Was that like the very
He blew
first
up
room in the
he blew
Batcave?
up the first floor.
Yeah, he blew up the first floor, and they just went to the other floor and grabbed
He
everything
didn't
else.
go he didn't go down the hall in the back cave.
It's ridiculous. Um, so we get to the final showdown. Our boys end up storming Nigma's lair by land and by sea, or by air and by sea. They take the Batwing and the Batboat, respectively. Robin, well, first they get both blown out of the water and out of the sky, in a game of Battleship, which, neither here nor there. They do the classic thing where Chase is sexually restrained. Like she's chained up with like a gold chain around her that's barely on her. And then Nigma shows up in his smoking jacket and is trying to bang, I guess.
Is he?
I don't know. I feel like that was one of the things villains did back in the day. Jafar and Jabba the Hutt. It was all like, I'm gonna bang your girl. That's what I'm here to do.
Guess.
I'm here to get it. But yeah, this is when you get the holy rusted metal moment.
Top tier.
Holy rusted metal, Batman, which would sound like him in the 60s. And then he's
Yeah.
like, no, it's metal and it's rusty and it's got holes, holy. So I thought I really, really liked that joke, that callback there. Eventually, and throughout this ending part of the film, Two-Face is wherever he needs to be. He would just pop up and and have his gun. I'm like, how did he get here? How did any of this happen? So he shows up, he confronts Robin. He is nothing. Like Robin beats the hell out of him. He's got no skill to defend himself. And then he falls off the hill. And this is like a moment in retrospect that I actually really, really like. He's about to fall off and die, and he's like, I'll see you in hell. And that moment makes Robin be like, oh shit, I probably would go to hell if this guy dies. And that's when he reaches his hand out and gets him and like lifts him back up or whatever. And then he's like, and he pulls the gun back out on him. I said I would have just kicked him at that point, kick him off the hill. But what do you guys think of that lesson? That whole like revenge doesn't solve everything and don't kill Two-Face stuff. Were you buying that, or is this just naivete?
And then you're living the rest of your days in revenge, and you don't.
And every time you see roses and pearls,
yeah, I would let him die.
You would have let Two-Face die?
Let him die.
Yeah.
At that point, you didn't do it. He did it to himself.
Because that's what happens. He says, "I'll see you in hell," and he says, "I'd rather see you in prison."
Jail.
And then or jail.
Sorry.
And then pulls him up.
Yeah, no, I would have let him die.
Yeah. Where are you sitting on that, Jarvis?
Do you save Two-Face? I would have saved him only because I like the end spot.
Yeah.
When Batman comes by.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So the end spot was pretty fly. I really like the end spot. It was so simple, but you know.
And I want to think of that behind the scenes moment of like, Bruce, come on, I'm ready. And he's like, hold on, I'm putting quarters in my pocket.
I'm going.
For what?
Give me a second.
Don't worry about it. Yeah, we got to go to the bank. I need $100 in dollar coins.
I need $100 in quarters in silver change.
Yeah, that's a little weird. Where is he keeping that? Like,
where is he? I was just about to say, where the fuck is he keeping that shit? Because there ain't no space on the belt for that.
Someone's stuffing the copies, bro. He's got a bunch of coins jangling where his family Wayne family jewels are.
There's a third man rolling.
There's gotta be a third man. But yeah, we're wrapping this up with like I said, Robin faces off against Two-Face and proves that he's more than just rage. He spares the man who killed his family. Batman ends up confronting Riddler, who forces him to choose between saving Chase or Robin. And this is just also, even though this one predates it, gives me the Green Goblin, Spider-Man, choose vibes. And I also say, like, I probably would have chose Chase in that instance.
I mean, I think you're expected to choose Chase also because
you know this kid. Like, and he stole all my stuff and he knows my secret identity. Whoops.
I mean, she does too at this point.
Yeah, but who's gonna whoever relationship would be more? I didn't say it. He said it.
I know, but I don't think it's like even about that. I think it's like she's this innocent person and he's like also a superhero with you.
Yeah, but he's only a superhero. He's a superhero.
To die on the job if he's expected to, if that's what it takes.
Agreed, but he was not hired for the job. If anything, he walked into the job and is blackmailing his way to a job.
All the more reason that, like, if he dies, he dies. He stepped up to be involved in this. He volunteered to die if that's what it takes.
So the choice is Chase.
So Chase is the obvious choice, yeah.
Damn right. And I think that's who he goes for first. And he's like, "Oh, batarang."
And she puts out.
Sometimes I don't think she puts out in this film yet.
I mean,
and then she
got trying when she got kidnapped. They were almost there.
Yeah.
And then she knocked the flowers over, and all I could say was,
"Oh my God!"
And you gotta lay there with him naked, crying for 20 minutes about his dead mom.
No, you remind me of my dead mom. She used to kiss my dad just like that.
Oh my God!
You have long hair just like hers.
Call me Thomas. When you kiss me, call me Thomas. No. Do you mind wearing this necklace?
It's made of pearls.
Having, like, daddy issues, but that is a whole other thing that women just don't shame men enough for that. Maybe
for the mama stuff. Is that Oedipus? Yeah,
I could see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then, he's like, make me choose. And he's like, yeah, I'm not choosing any one of these because you're just going to kill us. So instead, I'm going to give you a riddle. And he's like, okay. Right? And he's like, here's your riddle. What's a bat? He's like, a bat. And then he turns on his sonar and he shoots again, more shattered glass. He shoots that thing in the middle, and he destroys the box. Ultimately, ends up scrambling Ed's mind in the process. And then he goes and he's able to save both Chase and Robin in a daring sequence. And then it's like, whoo, got Chase, got Robin, Riddler's upstairs, singing Yo Gabba Gabba or whatever's going on over there. And then, ha! And then Two-Face
right where he needs to be.
And
right
again,
on time.
Again, they're like at the bottom of this drop. I don't know how Two-Face got from up there taunting with Riddler. He's like, oh shit, I gotta take these stairs. So maybe I can get there by the time they drop. And then he just shows up, haha. And then he's like, I'm going to murder all of you. He's like, all of that riddle stuff, all those games, that's not me. I'm the guy who kills people, shoots them in the face.
That's what
so I'm gonna kill you. Ain't no gimmicks and ain't no bullshit. And then he goes, yeah, but Harvey, don't you have a gimmick? And he goes, yeah, you're right, I do have a gimmick. It's the quarter.
It's around here somewhere.
And then Batman proceeds to
make change.
Can you call this murder?
To make change.
This is not murder, right?
He makes change.
He does make change. He makes change happen. He tosses about $4.50,
$80 in quarters,
$80 in dollar coins at Two-Face, who dies scrambling for them. Now, you only needed one, Harvey, and I think if you would have just tried to get one, I don't think you would have fell. You saying
he tried to grab all of them?
It looked like he tried to grab all of them. He was doing the worst old dad catching. So you know how like an old person takes forever to fall?
Hey man, lucky.
That's what it felt like. It was like, just grab one, bro. Like, what are you doing?
It was very Gollum at the end of Return of the King.
Yeah.
Jumping in after the ring and the fucking yeah.
I don't know if I buy that part of the gimmick is that important to him, but apparently it was because he was ready to ride or die for it.
I don't think he was trying to catch all of them, though. I think he was just trying to catch one, but there were just so many he couldn't see his own coin in all of the coins anymore, and he like fumbled and.
Yeah, I guess he might have wanted just his.
Oh yeah, I wonder if they were all the same coins though.
They looked like it.
There's like a Canadian nickels in there somewhere, old subway token and shit. What am I supposed to do with this? This is a checker.
No, but they were very specific. Like they had that like fake Statue of Liberty or whatever on the
Statue of Justice.
Right.
Statue of Justice. That's it. Yeah.
Statue of Justice.
Is that a thing?
I've never heard that until
a statue.
It wasn't until described here that it was the Statue of Justice that I even knew it was Statue of Justice. And by the time we get to the next film, it is Gotham is way worse. It's like statues on top of statues on top of statues. Big Greek men like just
CGI the fuck up.
They drive up a man's arm at one point. Up a big statue's arm or whatever. It gets absolutely ridiculous.
Who the fuck is building all these statues?
Alfred, apparently. He's the only one who works. He's the only one who
that
works.
Architect gotta be balling.
I'm telling you. And in this instance here, with Two-Face's death, they show his hand and the coin lands in his hand very symbolically. But Dick is loving it. He's watching the whole thing go down. He want to watch the final bubbles pop off, bro. He's sitting there going,
he's there licking his lips, rubbing his hands like Birdman.
It's everything I ever wanted. Shut up, Bruce. It's everything I ever wanted.
Hell yeah.
Are we to believe that Dick Grayson is a virgin? Is that what they were getting at with the whole he one day hopes for the touch of a woman? Riddler.
When did they say that?
Riddler. He's like he likes long walks on the beach and one day
Riddler talking shit. I don't think it was legitimately implied, but that is kind of what Riddler was saying. Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think he ever read Dick's mind.
I don't think so.
Bruce Wayne, the man with the biggest secret in the city, walks into the mind reading thing. The only reason why he doesn't think it's gonna work is they told him they took the thing out, and then as soon as he walks in, they just put it in. This guy's a terrible detective. He goes into a safe to save somebody and lets the safe door close behind him. And it's like, oh shit, now what? Whoops.
Boiling acid.
It's boiling acid. Yep. So Harvey Dent loses his footing and his life. So Back at Arkham, Chase visits a now delusional Edward Nygma who claims to know who Batman is, but when pressed even further, just reveals that he is Batman, showing how far his insanity has taken over. I will say this. Another moment absolutely burned into my cortex. This moment here. I thought this was terrifying when I was a child. When I was 6 or 7 years old,
yeah, same.
the
When
whole
he goes to
I'm
visit,
Batman
yeah.
and the black jet, I
And
was like,
he's in a straight jacket, right?
yeah, I'm like, this is
That
like
was
crazy. Like
fire,
this is
bro.
kind of psycho. I don't and I love the bait and switch. Like she's almost desperately like, oh my God, who is it? Like you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
And if you know if she knows who it is, so if you know, you could blow this whole thing up and for it to all turn around to be like, it was me. Like all of that. I just love how they put all that together. It's one of the best parts of the film for me. And yeah, the whole I'm Batman shit. And then he comes out, he's like, yeah, he don't know shit. He's fucking crazy, so don't worry about it, bro. And they basically kiss. And then she leaves and we never see her again. So I think
Wait,
she
wait,
died.
wait, wait. They kiss, and Alfred creepily stands there 2 feet away, smiling at them
With
while
his
they're
thumb
kissing.
up.
Not creepy at all. Not creepy. Of course not.
I've been waiting many years for this, Master Rain. I wanted the house to myself for so long. So long. Um, but then we get the big triumphant Batman music, which is also a change from the last Batman theme. This is not the Batman the Animated Series theme. They created another theme for it. The Batman the Animated Series theme, yep, that theme is the same as the Batman 1 and 2 theme. And then this one was just like sometimes, man, the horns in this
Yeah, I was just
getting
about to say,
kind of
so much
crazy.
horn, so many
Extra.
trumpets. Like, relax.
Super
Fuck.
extra. But what do you think about this moment of the dynamic duo running away from the bat signal? Their silhouettes and the rubber ears bouncing in the in the wind.
I said at that point, bro. Even as a kid, I'm like, all right,
Badass. It's kind
all
of
right.
the imagery is great. I think
Yeah,
the
the
imagery is
imagery is
really
great.
really cool. The shadow of if you didn't have to like see who it was and see what they're wearing, I think the shadow of the two is really really really, really cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it looks like a scene from a comic book, like a last page with the two characters like running towards it seems like it would be a good last page of a comic.
I love that Bruce's arc is like I can have sex with women. Like I can do both. Like that's his arc in this film. Like, Dick Grayson's is just like, oh, I'm gonna be Batman too.
Yeah.
And then his is like, oh, I get to fuck things now. Like this is great. I can't wait to the next film, which no one remembers who the girl is in that.
What?
The girl in the Batman and Robin. There's a blonde like model or something.
I
He
thought
takes her to like the
that's
thing.
Vicky.
No,
Isn't it?
Vicky's Kim Basinger from the first one. And the second one's Selena. And then she's the third blonde, but there's a fourth blonde in Batman and Robin that I don't ever remember the name of hers for.
Interesting.
Yeah, George Clooney doesn't get the bag, but he tries. But I dug that ending. We cannot talk about this film without talking about "Kiss from a Rose." Seal, a very very
Hey, yo,
popular song.
they milked that shit.
They did. Um, Kiss from a Rose was released on Seal's second studio album in 1994, but it performed poorly, falling off the charts only after a few weeks. Joel Schumacher used the song as a temp track for a love scene between Bruce Wayne and Chase Meridian, and although he didn't think it fit the scene, he liked it so much, he included it in the end credits and directed a new music video for it.
I was just about to say, there's a music video for that. A
Yeah, I remember
Batman
that.
music video.
The song's inclusion in the soundtrack made it a smash hit, topping numerous charts, including the Billboard Top 100. After Schumacher's death in 2020, Seal reflected, I owe my career, I guess, in large part to Joel Schumacher, who took a chance, who took a song that was always a good song, but kind of an unconventional one, so it wasn't immediately palatable, sorry. But the difference was that everyone who went to see that movie, when they came out of the theaters, the last they heard was baby.
Uh-huh.
And I guess that it kind of stuck. What's interesting about that song is that it has nothing to do with Gotham. And it makes
It
sense
doesn't
that
at
he
all.
had already released this song and then they were like, let's make it into a Gotham song.
I just find it funny that they gave it the whole music video treatment.
Oh, not only that, I don't know if it's for this or for Batman and Robin, but there's a Gotham City song
Oh
sung by
God.
R. Kelly.
What the fuck?
Yes, I'm almost certain it's for this film, but if you're yelling at me, it's probably for the other one. But there's a Gotham City song
Oh Lord.
written, so there's that. The last thing we're gonna touch on when it comes to Batman Forever is famously in 2021, DC on their Max streaming service released the now infamous Snyder Cut, which had fans then clamoring for the supposed, rumored, mythological Schumacher Cut. Apparently, there is a Schumacher Cut of Batman Forever, an unreleased, darker version of the film, more in line with the director Schumacher's original vision. This cut reportedly includes around 30 to 40 minutes of additional footage, focusing on Bruce Wayne's psychological trauma. Not
God damn it.
again.
Not my
He
parents.
said, I get it. He said, that's enough.
God damn it.
That's
God
enough.
damn
I
it.
get it.
It's not even a good cut.
But more importantly, it features probably the most famous deleted scene in Batman history, in which Batman goes down into the Batcave and has a one-on-one interaction with a man-sized bat.
What the fuck?
This is on YouTube. I will implore you guys to
Is
seek
it
this out. We
really?
might make a clip. Yes, we might
Oh,
make a clip
I'm gonna go
out
watch
of
that
this
shit.
here. But basically, he goes down. The same bat like kind of flies towards him, but then it's his size. They go eye to eye. The bat opens its
Is
arms,
it
and I
the
want to say
man
Bruce
bat?
Wayne opens his arms, and then the
And they
camera
hug?
kind of just spins around them for a
And they
little bit.
hug, yeah.
No, I don't think they hug. They should have
I
kissed or
like
something.
that. We should do that.
They should have hugged.
I mean, they should do
Put
that.
that in the Schumacher cut. Stop being a coward. Oh no, he's dead. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, Schumacher.
They're
Um,
they're both dead.
yeah, they are. Yes, they're both gone. My God.
I wonder if the bat is still alive.
I wonder if someone's. I wonder if there's some hitman trying to make sure that this version of the movie don't come out. It's the bat.
It's the bat.
It's the bat.
It's the bat.
While the theatrical release leaned into a lighter, campier tone, the Schumacher cut aimed for a more character-driven story. Interest in the cut resurfaced following the hashtag release the Snyder Cut movement, with fans campaigning for its official release. As of now, the Schumacher cut remains unreleased. But if you go on right now on Twitter, there are Twitter pages dedicated to releasing the Schumacher cut, to what's it called, to deleted scenes, to concept art, all kinds of stuff. They really believe that this thing exists and they want to show it. And I want to believe the last thing I heard about it was like Kevin Smith was interested in showing it in his personal theater
He would be.
in New
Yeah, he
Jersey.
would. Yeah, he would.
Huge He was a huge Batman fan. He still is a huge Batman fan. So that's where that goes there. I don't think it's necessarily necessary, but in a world where every cut is out, like put it in a Batman Forever DVD. Right, like have it be like the director's cut alongside the regular cut, but I don't think there should be a big stink made about this cut. This film is what it is.
That'll be a definitely next cash grab.
Yeah, 100%. But that's all I have on Batman Forever. What are your closing thoughts on Batman Forever, Jarvis? He has to think about his parent for a second. We have to give him this moment.
My parents would have loved this movie.
Yeah, they would have. Maybe they should have took you to see that instead of Zorro, and then you wouldn't have died. My last thoughts on this is I still think it's a lot of fun if you're not taking yourself or Batman too seriously. In a world
Yeah.
where people are trying to like eviscerate the tone of Superman, they could not live in a world where this movie was came out, because my God, I think Batman deserves to have both sides of the coin. I think he is hilarious if you try to play it straight, and I think that sometimes you do need the dark and gritty stuff. But I wonder if we've gone dark and gritty for so long, we'll never turn the corner back around to kind of comedic, kind of mustache twirly stuff. But we'll see. Gunn kind of likes both sides, but we already have the Batman 2 that's supposed to come out, and maybe those will be the two sides of the coin, where his Gunn's Batman that introduces Damian will be more lighthearted, and then we'll get a grittier, Robert Pattinson film going on there. But last but not least, as the last guest here, what did you think about Batman Forever? What are your closing thoughts, the things that you will remember when this podcast is said and done?
I don't know. I think one thing that we didn't really talk about, I love the sound effects.
Oh yeah.
Like I pointed that out several times when we were watching it, like, oh, he did this and it made this comical like popping sound. Or, like they did so well
Just
with
talking about
like
when they pluck the mustache of the boss and it
just
does like a
literally
piano wire.
everything.
It does
There's
that.
so many times.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
They really did that well. It feels like a comic book. It feels like there's a lot of scenes where like there's not a lot of background stuff happening. Like it'll just be like his face, her face, and back and forth, and they're talking, and it feels like the way it reads in a comic, in a like conversation between the two characters, or the comical like sound effects and stuff that would normally be like just bam pow kind of stuff. Like just I really like that about this. I don't think that the first two films really had any kind of like they weren't comics. They were like movies. So
More like deep, like noir
yeah,
detective. Do you think this is the right direction?
I like it a lot. I this stands out to me, and so does Batman and Robin. Like, and maybe just because I was older when they came out. Like, what year is this?
1995.
So I was 4 or 5 when this came out. So Batman and Robin, I was 7 maybe. So yeah, like I really like both of these films. Maybe they were made for me as a kid in that time period, but yeah, I like the comical stuff.
I think this is the perfect film to tackle. Like I said, just in time for his 30th anniversary. Rest in peace, Val Kilmer and Joel Schumacher. But again, we are in a world where people are constantly talking about juggling the tones of things like Superman and Fantastic Four. How do they get it right? What is too cheesy? What is too childish? What is too grim? What is too dark? I like this exploration here. This is literally an experiment right here in front of us. And later on this month, we'll talk about the production of Superman Lives, which was a failed Superman project that didn't end up getting off the ground and stuff. So yeah, that's all I've got on this. But if you guys have been watching this live on Facebook, thank you so much for joining us. We do Facebook Live episodes of this podcast every single week. Um, and we have more podcasts in the can. So go to comicbookclick.com. It's the one stop for all things comic book click. Episodes of the every episode of the Major Issues podcast has over 385 episodes. It's over 700 hours of content. Go over there and read articles and comic book reviews written by myself and other members of the click. It's where our store exists, our TeePublic store, and we get a kickback of every single thing purchased on our TeePublic store. So consider supporting us there. If you want to support us more monetarily, which can always help, consider becoming a Patreon at patreon.com/CBC Clubhouse, where for as little as 10 cents a day, $3 a month, you can help us keep our lights on here and afford the hardware and the software that we need to keep providing you guys content free of charge. We have all sorts of video series that we end up doing free of charge just for the love of the game here as part of Comic Book Click. We have Alex who does his weekly hauls. I've been doing 5 Fast Facts. We got other stuff boiling. Major previews drops every month. Major issues drops every week, and then we do the live recordings of major issues, which is always a fun time. So I gotta go ahead and shout that stuff out. If you can find us on Facebook.com/comicbookclick, Instagram at comicbookclick, or use the hashtag comicbookclick to talk about the newest, hottest, latest, and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. I am currently in the Batcave, and Dick Grayson really wants to get in, but we are doing our best to keep him out as we continue to do what we do here as part of Comic Book Click. And like I said, talk about the latest and greatest things to come to comic books and comic book media. It's been a blast. We're doing awesome all over social media. Thanks to you guys. We are rising to new heights with each and every step that we take. And it's the confidence that you guys instill in us to provide this content that allows this content to come out. So thank you guys. In any way, share the podcast, tell a friend to tell a friend about the podcast. And I guess we will see you guys next time. That's all the plugs that I can remember at the time. Jarvis, do you want the people to find you or nah?
People can find me on Instagram, super_J with a YEII. I'm not on the
Hey,
I'm not on the twit machines. Sorry.
Jess, do you want the people to find you?
Um, they can if they want to. I'm on Facebook. I'm not hard to find.
Oh, well, there you got it there. And then you guys know I'm George Serrano, aka Don. So you can find me all over Comic Book Click, everything, everywhere, as the founder of Comic Book Click. Last thing I want to say, if you go over to comicbookclick.com, we share that space with the awesome guys over at Dirt Sheet Radio, the industry leaders in all things professional wrestling and pop culture. Those guys are constantly busting their butt over there. My boy John Escudero runs a tight ship, and they are always providing post shows for things like AEW, WWE, TNA, and more. Those guys love professional wrestling and love pop culture. So consider following Dirt Sheet Radio, especially if you head over to comicbookclick.com. Go ahead and spend some time over at the Dirt Sheet Radio part of it all. But the crying baby is the signal to say that my name is George Serrano, aka the Don.
Oh yeah, you're next, Jarvis. Sorry.
I'm Claudius Maximus.
And I'm Jessica Roberts, aka the Witch.
And this has been our recap and review of Batman Forever in time for his 30th year anniversary. And remember, whether your parents were shot in Crime Alley or whether they fell down because they were some gymnastic people, whether you have you're tired of talking about your parents, or you just want to find a skin tight green outfit to find yourself in, remember, life's a riddle. Remember that we are the Click, and always remember that you, yes, you, are worthy. Thanks, guys.